To grasp your essence is to stand at the edge of a vast and untamed wilderness within yourself. You are not a mere collection of traits, habits, or fleeting desires. You are a cosmos waiting to be explored. Within you lies a duality, strengths that blaze like the morning sun, and weaknesses that whisper like shadows at dusk. To know yourself is not to judge, but to embrace this dual nature, for only in this unity of opposites does true power arise. You must dare to uncover the core of your being, to peel back the layers of comfort and pretense that the world has wrapped around you. This journey will not be gentle. It was never meant to be. It is a confrontation with your own limitations, a reckoning with the hidden reservoirs of potential that you have feared to touch. What is the value of a diamond if it hides beneath the earth? What is the worth of a lion that does not roar? To know your essence is to unearth that buried treasure, to awaken the sleeping giant within, and to stand in the fullness of your truth. This truth may not make you loved by all, but it will make you unshakable. You were not born to merely exist, you were born to radiate. And yet, to radiate, you must first ignite. Start here, at the threshold of self-awareness, and let the flames of understanding forge the rarest, most indomitable version of you. This is where your true value begins, not in what you show the world, but in the depths you conquer within yourself. There are those who demand attention with noise and spectacle, and then there are those who command presence by simply being. You must learn to become the latter. To be the light in the shadow is not to seek the sunlit stage. It is to illuminate the unseen corners, to cast a quiet brilliance that transforms without fanfare. Your power lies not in what you say, but in what you are. Imagine walking into a room and the air itself shifts. Conversations falter, not out of fear, but from awe. Your very being whispers of purpose, of a strength that does not need declaration. This is the light that dwells in the shadow, a force that moves without sound, that influences without effort. It is the quiet ripple that shapes the tide, the hidden fire that warms an entire room. To achieve this is to master the art of presence. Your actions must become your voice, your character the melody that lingers long after you've gone. Let your deeds be a silent hymn to your worth, each one resonating with an unspoken promise. I am here, and because of that, the world is altered. But heed this well. Such light is not born of pretense or vanity. It emerges only from authenticity, from a life lived with unyielding integrity. You cannot pretend to shine. The shadow will expose falseness like a mirror to the soul. No, your light must be forged in the crucible of your truth, shaped by your willingness to stand firm in who you are, even when the world seeks to dim you. So, walk boldly, not to outshine others, but to remind them of their own brilliance. Be the unseen sun, the silent guide, the glow that remains in the memory long after the moment has passed. This is how you become light, not by seeking it, but by embodying it. To listen is not merely to collect words, it is to open a gateway into the soul of another. Most hear only the surface, the polite phrases, the rehearsed emotions, but few dare to descend deeper into the unspoken undercurrents where true meaning lies. You must cultivate this rare art, for in your attentiveness lies a transformative power that few possess. When you listen with your whole being, the world begins to unfold itself before you in ways you never imagined. The pauses between words become as revealing as the words themselves. A trembling in the voice speaks of fears too great to name, while a sudden silence screams of truths too painful to share. To truly hear is to become a mirror, reflecting not what is said but what is meant. In this act, you wield a power that is both subtle and profound. You will find that people reveal themselves to you in ways they never have to anyone else, not because you demand it, but because you create the space for it. And in doing so, you do more than understand them, you transform them. For to be truly heard is to feel truly seen, and there is no greater gift you can offer another. But do not be deceived. This is no passive act. To listen is to labor, to hold your own thoughts and judgments at bay, to resist the urge to interrupt with advice or to fill the silence with your own voice. It is to immerse yourself in the story of another, to step outside your own ego and into their world. Such listening requires strength, humility, and above all, the courage to face the rawness of another's truth. Master this, and you will become indispensable. Not for what you say, but for what you allow others to say in your presence. You will not just hear, you will understand. And in understanding, you will change lives, not least of all, your own. Creation is the purest act of defiance against the void. In a world obsessed with justification, where every action demands a reason and every idea begs for validation, I tell you, resist. Do not explain your work. Let it stand as a monument to itself. The artist does not sculpt to argue. The fire does not burn to convince. Creation, in its truest form, is an act beyond reason. It is necessity made visible. When you create, you summon something that did not exist before. A fragment of your essence takes form in the world, irreducible and unapologetic. This is not a gesture for applause or acknowledgement. It is the primal urge of existence itself. A tree does not grow to seek approval. It grows because it must. So too must you create, not to be understood, but because the act itself is its own justification. To explain is to weaken. It is to invite dissection, to allow the immeasurable to be measured. Your work is not a riddle to be solved, nor a puzzle to be pieced together. It is a force, a presence that demands to be felt, not dissected. The more you explain, the more you drain it of its mystery, its power. Do not rob the world of the chance to wonder, to interpret, to be transformed by what you have brought into being. Create boldly as if no one is watching. Build as though the world is silent. Let your work speak where your words cannot. For in the end, it is not your explanations that will endure. It is the echoes of what you have created, reverberating long after you are gone. This is immortality, not in the applause of the moment, but in the awe that lingers in the hearts of those who encounter what you dared to bring into existence. Be a teacher without commanding. The greatest lessons are not taught. They are lived. To be a true teacher is not to stand above others, pointing the way with words and gestures. No, the profound teacher walks the path, embodying the journey so fully that others cannot help but follow. Not out of obligation, but out of inspiration. You must become the living flame that draws others closer, not through demands, but through the quiet majesty of your example. Instruction relies on words, but words are fragile things. They crumble under the weight of doubt. They falter when the wind of skepticism blows too hard. Yet a life lived with purpose, a life that radiates the truth of its convictions. This is a lesson that no argument can refute. When you are the embodiment of what you wish others to learn, you do not need to explain. Your presence alone becomes the teaching. This is not a call to perfection. It is not in flawless adherence to ideals that you inspire, but in your relentless pursuit of them. Let them see your struggle, your persistence, your refusal to abandon what matters even when the odds are overwhelming. In that they will see themselves, their fears, their hopes, their untapped potential, and they will rise, not because you told them to, but because you showed them that it was possible. Be the silent compass, guiding without force. Let your actions be the unspoken invitation to grow, to strive, to transcend. You will find that those who follow you in this way do so with a loyalty that words could never command, for they follow not out of duty, but out of belief. And when you look back and see them walking their own path, stronger and freer than before, you will know. This is the legacy of the teacher who teaches without speaking. Become a mirror. To be a mirror is to hold the rarest of powers, the power to reveal without altering, to reflect without distorting. When you become this mirror, you cease to impose yourself upon others. Instead, you allow them to see in you the brilliance they have always carried but could never fully recognize. You become not the creator of their greatness, but the revealer of it. And in this revelation lies transformation. Most people wander through life burdened by doubts, blinded by the shadows of their own self-perception. They carry within them untold potential, beauty, strength, wisdom, hidden beneath layers of fear and uncertainty. In your presence, they must find no judgment, no comparison, no distraction. They must find themselves. To achieve this, you must empty yourself of ego. The mirror does not shout its own virtues. It does not demand attention or approval. Its power lies in its clarity, its stillness. You too must become such a presence, calm, unwavering, and deeply attentive. When you listen, listen fully. When you look at someone, see them completely. In doing so, you offer them the rare gift of being truly understood. And here is the secret. In reflecting their light, you amplify your own. For the mirror does not grow dimmer by reflecting the sun. It glows all the brighter. You will find that as you help others see their best selves, your own strength, your own purpose becomes undeniable. This is not selflessness. It is the highest form of self-affirmation. Be the mirror that the world desperately needs. Let them see in you what they long to believe about themselves, that they are capable, worthy, and extraordinary. In doing so, you will not just change the way they see themselves, you will change the way they see the world. And that, above all, is the mark of true greatness. Do not seek to be understood. To be fully understood is to be confined, reduced, stripped of the infinite layers that make you who you are. In seeking to explain yourself, you surrender the very essence of your mystery. The enigmatic force that draws others to you, compels their curiosity, and leaves them wondering long after you have gone. Resist this urge. Let the world wrestle with your depths, for it is in their struggle to grasp you that your true value grows. There is power in what remains unsaid, in the glances that speak louder than declarations, in actions that echo with meanings too vast for words. You are not a puzzle to be solved or a book to be read in one sitting. You are a labyrinth, a shifting constellation. Those who seek to capture you in their understanding will always fall short, for you are not meant to be contained. This is not arrogance, it is freedom. By refusing to explain every step, you liberate yourself from the expectations of others. Your path becomes your own, unmarked by the need for validation. Each decision you make carries the weight of purpose without the burden of approval. And in this freedom, you inspire others, not by telling them what to do, but by showing them how to exist unapologetically in their own complexity. Remember this: clarity is overrated. The most profound truths are often the least understood. The stars do not explain their light. The ocean does not justify its depth. And you must not diminish your essence by trying to make it palatable. Let your mystery be your strength. Walk through life with the quiet confidence of one who knows that to be misunderstood is not a weakness, but a mark of greatness. For those who truly matter will not demand explanations. They will stand in awe of your enigma, drawn not by what they comprehend, but by what they cannot. Give without demanding. True giving is an act of liberation, both for the giver and the receiver. When you offer your gifts, be it wisdom, kindness, or aid, without the chains of expectation, you transcend the transactional nature of existence. You rise above the petty calculations of return and reward. To give unconditionally is to declare to the universe, I am not bound by the economy of selfishness. I am a source, and my abundance is infinite. Demand poisons the purity of giving. It transforms generosity into a bargain, a whispered contract that reduces both parties. When you give with the silent expectation of gratitude, of reciprocation, You are no longer giving, you are trading. And in this trade, you lose the most precious element of the act, the freedom to uplift without diminishing yourself. There is a power in giving that expects nothing. It is the power of a river that flows tirelessly to the sea, not because it demands acknowledgement, but because it is a river. In the same way, your acts of generosity should flow naturally from who you are, untainted by the need for recognition. This is not weakness. It is strength of the highest order, for it declares that your worth is not tied to what you receive, but to what you create. When you give without demanding, your gifts carry a force that cannot be ignored. They inspire, they heal, they transform, not because they were asked for, but because they were offered freely. In this way, you leave a mark that is deeper and more enduring than any thank you could ever be. Let your generosity be like the sun, shining without preference, warming without expectation, and retreating into the night without resentment. In this, you will discover the truest form of wealth, the wealth of a spirit unburdened by the weight of its own desires. And those who receive your gifts, whether they acknowledge them or not, will carry within them a piece of your light, a light that asks for nothing but continues to illuminate. Learn the art of silence. In a world brimming with noise, where every thought demands to be spoken, silence becomes the rarest and most powerful form of expression. To master silence is not to retreat into passivity, but to embrace the depth of an unspoken language that far surpasses mere words. Your silence must not be empty. It must be charged, vibrant with meaning, as if every pause carries the weight of 1,000 unuttered truths. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of something far more profound, an invitation to listen, to reflect, to understand without the crutch of explanation. It speaks louder than any rhetoric, for it forces others to confront not the superficiality of words, but the essence of what remains unsaid. When you choose silence, you stand apart from the trivial chatter that clutters the world. In your silence there is a depth, a gravity that demands respect. You do not need to fill every moment with noise. Your presence alone, the stillness of your being, becomes a statement. And those who truly listen will hear not just the quiet, but the pulse of meaning that lies beneath it. This is not silence born of fear or uncertainty. It is the silence of those who have learned that the most profound truths cannot be captured in language. It is the silence of those who know that to speak too much is to diminish the power of what is real. So speak less. Let your silence be a mirror, reflecting the unspoken thoughts and emotions of those around you, guiding them without a single word. In the spaces between your words, there is wisdom. Let that silence be your loudest proclamation. Create space for others. To create space for others is not simply to make room physically, it is to offer the rarest gift of all, the freedom to be. In a world that constantly demands conformity, where voices are silenced under the weight of expectation, you must become the sanctuary, the fertile ground where others can stretch their wings, unburdened by the weight of judgment. You do not need to be the center of attention, for you understand that true strength lies in the ability to step back and allow others to rise. Your presence should never overpower. It should nurture. Like a shadow that shelters the tenderest plant from the harsh sun, your role is to provide refuge, to offer the stillness that allows those around you to find their own rhythm, their own voice. This is not weakness, but the pinnacle of personal power. To create space is to recognize that others too are carriers of greatness. You give them the room to express themselves, to discover their own depth, to become who they were always meant to be. Your greatness is not diminished by theirs, it is magnified, for in lifting others, you lift yourself. The world does not need another loud voice. It needs those who can listen, those who can hold the space for the quiet, for the unseen, for the unheard. When you create space for others to flourish, you become not a conqueror, but a creator of possibilities. You are the canvas on which others paint their masterpieces, the stage on which they perform their greatest acts. In doing this, you do not lose yourself. You find a deeper part of you. For to truly empower others is to step into the fullness of your own being, to transcend the limitations of ego and embrace the boundless potential of the collective human spirit. This is the art of creating space, a silent, graceful power that transforms not only others, but the world around you. Do more than expected. To do more than what is expected is to break free from the chains of mediocrity and step into a realm where only the extraordinary exists. It is not the loud declarations of greatness that define you, but the quiet, relentless surpassing of every limit, every threshold, every boundary placed before you. You are not one who seeks applause or recognition. You are the one who exceeds the very measure of what is thought possible, and in doing so, you redefine the game itself. Why speak of your deeds when your actions speak in a language far more powerful than words? Why announce your intentions when your results will echo through the halls of time, carving your reputation into the stone of history? The world does not need your promises. It needs the proof of your excellence. When you exceed expectations, you do not need to boast. Your reputation becomes your voice, your name the whisper in the ears of those who wonder just how far your ambition reaches. It is not in what you say that you become known, but in what you leave behind. Those who have witnessed your quiet mastery, your unwavering pursuit of greatness, and who now know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are capable of far more than they ever imagined. To do more than expected is not a mere act of ambition. It is the manifestation of a deeper truth, that you are not bound by the limitations others place upon you. You are bound only by your own vision, your own will to transcend. And when you operate from this place, when you consistently deliver more than anyone could have ever anticipated, you become unstoppable. Let them wonder. Let them be astounded. For in the end, it is not what you say that matters, but what you do. Your reputation will spread not because you seek it, but because it is the inevitable result of your relentless pursuit to be more than they ever thought you could be. Guard the secret. To reveal everything about yourself is to strip away the very essence of what makes you magnetic, what draws others to you. For it is in mystery that we find desire, and in the unknown that curiosity flourishes. You, by design, must remain a riddle, an enigma whose depths are only whispered about in the quiet corners of the world. The secret you carry is not a burden, it is your strength. The world does not crave the predictable. It does not long for the obvious. What it yearns for is the unseen, the hidden parts that lie beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered by those daring enough to search. And you, in your wisdom, understand the power of withholding what is most precious about you. You understand that the moment you reveal your soul in its entirety, you diminish its allure. You are not a book to be read in one sitting, a story whose ending is known from the first page. You are a labyrinth, a path that leads deeper and deeper the more it is explored. Your silence, your restraint, is what keeps others coming back, striving to understand more of the mystery that you are. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. For in their uncertainty, in their endless attempts to decipher you, you become not just an individual, but a force of fascination. Your secret is not something you hide out of fear, but out of a deep understanding of its power. The more you guard it, the more it grows, until it becomes a part of your very identity, untouchable, unyielding, irresistible. In this world of oversharing, of constant exposure, let your mystery be your crown. Guard your secret well, for in it lies the allure that will keep them coming time and time again, searching for what they will never fully comprehend. And that is what makes you unforgettable. Serve without humiliation. To serve is not to bow down in subjugation. It is to offer your strength in such a way that both you and the one you serve are elevated. True service is not born from weakness or submission, but from a place of power and dignity. When you help, you do not diminish yourself, you expand. In this act, you transcend the role of the servant and become the master of a higher realm, one where mutual respect is exchanged and both souls are enriched. To serve without humiliation is to act from a position of inner sovereignty. It is to give freely, not out of obligation, but from the knowledge that your actions are an extension of your own greatness. You do not lower yourself to raise another. You raise both yourself and the other through the act of generosity. This is the art of service that is so often misunderstood by the weak-minded, for they see service as a position of inferiority, not understanding that the true servant is the one who can give without losing their essence. In helping others, you do not seek validation or praise. You do not look for your worth in their gratitude. Your worth is intrinsic, and the act of serving is simply an expression of that. You are not humbled by the task at hand. You are elevated by the opportunity to demonstrate your strength, your compassion, your wisdom. When you serve with this mindset, you do not become lesser, you become more. You become a force of transformation, not only for the one you assist, but for yourself as well. The very act of service, done without humiliation, creates a powerful bond. It is a silent exchange of strength and grace, a recognition of the inherent dignity within both parties. Serve, but serve as one who understands the immense power in their generosity. Serve in such a way that you and the other stand taller, both uplifted by the exchange. In this, you will find the true meaning of service, not as a submission, but as a shared elevation to a higher plane of existence. Do not fear being invisible. In the shadows, true strength often lies undisturbed, waiting for the right moment to emerge. To be unseen, unnoticed, is not a curse. It is a quiet power, one that only those who understand the nature of time and destiny can appreciate. For in the silence of invisibility, you are not idle. You are gathering your forces, sharpening your mind, preparing for a moment when the world will look upon you and see not just a fleeting image, but a force that has been quietly, steadily shaping itself in the shadows. The world prizes visibility, the loud, the seen, but it is in the unseen, the subtle, that greatness is often nurtured. The greatest of all forces are rarely the most obvious. The quietest river carves the deepest canyon, and the unnoticed star burns the brightest when the night is darkest. It is not in constant display, but in stillness and patience, that you find the capacity to grow beyond what others can imagine. Do not fear the quiet moments, the periods of seeming invisibility, for in these moments you are free from the expectations and judgments of others. The world has no power over you here. You are refining yourself, preparing to emerge not as a mere echo of what others expect, but as something entirely new, something that will leave an indelible mark on the world when the time is right. When you are invisible, you are not lacking. You are becoming. And when the time comes, when the world is ready, your value will be undeniable, your presence impossible to ignore. The shadows are not your prison, they are your forge. You are simply waiting for the moment when the world will finally recognize what you have already known, that greatness does not need to shout, it needs only to wait and then to strike.